Hey everyone, welcome back to my audio story. Imagine pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into one of the most iconic skyscrapers on Earth, only to realize you don't actually own the land it sits on. You're just renting the dirt. Forever, that's not a hypothetical. That is exactly what's happening with the Chrysler Building right now. Today we're diving into one of the craziest real estate stories in New York City history. How this breathtaking Art Deco masterpiece is owned by a college that's been collecting, or fighting to collect, ground rent for over 95 years. This story has it all. Billionaire meltdowns, a broken promise of free tuition, multiple bankruptcies, and why this legendary building keeps destroying its owners financially. Let's start at the beginning. The Chrysler Building was completed in 1930 at 1,046 feet. It was briefly the tallest building in the world until the Empire State Building took the title just 1 year later. Walter P. Chrysler, the founder of Chrysler Corporation, built it as a personal monument to his automotive empire and his family. The building is an absolute masterpiece of Art Deco design. The crown features shining stainless steel gargoyles shaped like radiator caps, giant eagle heads, and dramatic brickwork that give the illusion of motion and speed. Inside, you have incredible marble lobbies, detailed murals, and the famous Cloud Club on floors 66 through 68, once an ultra-exclusive private club and speakeasy for the city's elite. But here's what almost nobody realizes when they look up at this building. Walter Chrysler never bought the land. He only built on leased land. And that decision has haunted every owner for nearly a century. So who owns the ground underneath it? The Cooper Union for the Advancement of Science and Art, a small, highly respected private college in the East Village known for architecture, art, and engineering. Peter Cooper founded the school in 1859. He was a self-made inventor and industrialist who believed strongly in education. His dream was to create a tuition-free college open to working-class men and women based purely on merit. For over 150 years, Cooper Union actually delivered on that promise in 1902. The Cooper and Hewitt families donated several valuable plots of land in Manhattan to the school as part of its endowment. One of those plots was at Lexington Avenue and 42nd Street, right in the heart of what would become Midtown in the late 1920s. Walter Chrysler signed a long-term ground lease with Cooper Union. This is very common in New York. You lease the land for 75, 99, or even 150 years. You own the building on top of it, but the land itself stays with the original owner. If you default or the lease ends, the landowner can take the building too. The Chrysler Building opened in 1930 under this lease. Cooper Union received steady rental income that helped fund free tuition, while different owners controlled and profited from the actual building over the decades. Now fast forward to the mid-2000s. Cooper Union was struggling financially. The cost of providing completely free tuition had become unsustainable. In 2006, they renegotiated the ground lease with the owner at the time, Tishman Speyer. They added aggressive rent escalations. The annual ground rent would jump from about $7.8 million to $32.5 million in 2018, then rise again to $41 million in 2028 and $55 million in 2038. At the height of the real estate boom, this looked reasonable. It turned out to be a ticking time bomb. Right before the 2008 financial crisis, Tishman sold a 90% stake to Abu Dhabi Investment Council for around $800 million. Then the recession hit hard. Office markets weakened. By 2019, the building sold for just $150 million to Abai Rosen's RFR Realty and their Austrian partner Signa. A massive loss. The new owners planned major renovations and wanted to reopen the Cloud Club to the public. Then COVID-19 destroyed office demand. Tenants left or downsized. Landmark restrictions made renovations extremely slow and expensive. The sky-high ground rent suddenly became impossible to pay to BY 2024. RFR was in default, owing Cooper Union more than $21 million in misrent. In September 2024, Cooper Union terminated the lease and took back full control. Courts sided with the school. RFR fought back, but ultimately lost AS of 2026. The Chrysler Building is in limbo. Cooper Union is actively trying to find a new long-term tenant or buyer for the ground lease. Tishman Speyer is reportedly in talks to potentially return, but any new deal will almost certainly require much lower rent payments. The building desperately needs over $100 million in capital improvements, new elevators, modern systems, lobby upgrades, but landmark status makes every change slow and costly. Despite all the drama, the Chrysler Building still has massive strengths. It's one of the most recognizable buildings in the world. It sits in an unbeatable location right next to Grand Central Station, has spectacular views, and can still command premium rents for the right tenants. Ground leases are actually very common in New York, especially with universities, churches, and old families. They let landowners earn steady income without managing big properties, and developers get to build without paying full land prices up front. But when rents escalate faster than building income, or when markets change dramatically, it can destroy the economics. For Cooper Union, this story is especially bittersweet. That land was supposed to protect free tuition forever. Instead, the school eventually had to start charging tuition in the 2010s, which triggered huge student protests, occupations, and leadership scandals. The Chrysler Building rent, once seen as their financial savior, became a source of lawsuits and stress instead. So what happens next? Will a new owner finally make the numbers work? Will Cooper Union keep control longer than expected? Or will this Art Deco icon go through yet another dramatic ownership change? The Chrysler Building has already survived the Great Depression, multiple recessions, and nearly 100 years of chaos. Its future depends on whether someone can make the math work on land they will never actually own. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Let me know in the comments. Would you rather own the building or the land underneath it? And what other famous buildings with wild stories should I cover next? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.